Christopher Nolan's movies all demonstrate that he has a deep fascination with how we experience reality as humans. He acknowledges this by telling stories about things in our world that we can easily understand or identify, such as the subconscious, or time, or the mind. His films never directly address God, but many of his characters are driven by sacrificial and biblical love. The characters Cooper and Brand in the movie Interstellar are discussing a mission that they have and whether they should execute Plan A or Plan B. Plan A will save the world, and Plan B will create a new one. Dr. Brand says, "Listen to me when I say that love isn't something we invented. It's observable and powerful. It has to mean something. Maybe it means something more, something we can't yet understand. Maybe it's some evidence, some artifact of a higher dimension that we can't consciously perceive. Love is the one thing we're capable of perceiving that transcends dimensions of time and space." This quote demonstrates a universal understanding that we all have of love. It's what drives us. 1 Corinthians 13:8 and 13 both say, "Love never fails, and now these three remain: faith, hope, love. But the greatest of these is love." So Nolan demonstrates love in the same way that we as Christians understand it. God is love, and we're created in his image, so we're created to both love him and love others.
Christopher Nolan's film Inception takes place in a carefully crafted world full of unique details and creative world building. To Christian viewers, an allegory can be clearly seen. In the film, the protagonists navigate a dream world that bears striking resemblance to the real thing. Such a resemblance, in fact, that it's easy to become addicted and not want to leave, as seen by Mal and the junkies in the Mombasa den. This divide between the real world and the dream world finds a parallel in Christian theology, where the dream world is the one we currently inhabit, and the real world is heaven, the kingdom of God. Like Mal and the junkies, it's easy for us to forget that we have a real home elsewhere. The only way to escape the dream is to die. But if we die at the wrong time, in the wrong way, we end up not closer to home, but further from it. Limbo is the hell of Inception, an eternal landscape populated by broken dreams, where humanity gets muddled and it's impossible to escape. Adam Carrington, writing for the publication Christ and Pop Culture, drew a connection between Mal's obsession with the idea of the dream world, the first act of inception committed by Cobb, and acts of idolatry in our everyday lives. Mal thought that something she created was more real and of more value than the real world, and it cost her her life.
Looking at the film The Prestige and the biblical theme of obsession. The film follows two magicians rivaled against each other in their constant pursuit of becoming the best magician. There's a lot of tragedy and wrongdoing involved. If we're going to look at the biblical theme of obsession in this film, we obviously want to go to the text and see what the Bible has to say about obsession. So 1 John 2:15 through 17, it says, "Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride and possession, is not from the Father, but is from the world. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of God abides forever." So I think the Bible is really clear about its stance on obsession and where you put that desire in your life. If you focus it on things of the world, you will end up with nothing. If you set your sights on things above, such as the Father, you end up with eternity. And so I think we see that in the film with these two magicians. They set their sights on worldly desires and then suffer the consequences of trying to fulfill themselves with worldly possessions.
I'm going to be talking about the themes of predestination and free will found specifically in the Christopher Nolan films. First film I want to talk about is Tenet. In this film, we play around with the idea of time and destiny and what's meant to happen a lot, and the overall theme that ends up coming out of it is that there is a greater power in this film, specifically them from the future, who already knows how life is going to go. They know how it's going to be played out. And by the end of the film, you reach this realization that there was almost nothing the characters could have done to change the outcome of the film. It's almost as if it was set in stone from the very beginning, and nothing the main character or the side characters did differently would have changed that final outcome. For me, when watching Tenet, it gave me strong predestination feelings because there was that constant overpower force of this is how time has been laid out and this is how it's going to happen over and over and over again. And there's nothing you can do to, for instance, save your best friend, or there's nothing you can do to stop this disaster from happening if that's how it already has been predestined by the workings of time. Similar themes, but a little bit more toned down, come into Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, where Batman has this power of vengeance. He is fueled by the hatred for the man who killed his parents, and coming out of that, he wants to exact revenge, but also he gets a lot of enemies along the way. One of the main ones is Joker. That's his main enemy throughout the duration of the Dark Knight trilogy. And when we face Joker, every meeting with him feels as though it was meant to be that way. There are often quotes, "This is how it was supposed to happen," or "This is your destiny, Batman." Very strong leanings towards this is a relationship that was always meant to be, this like animosity between these two characters. This is how it will always be, and it will always be this circle of Joker is trying to cause trouble, trying to get to Batman, and Batman is trying to stop him. There's no Christopher Nolan film that emphasizes free will more than predestination. He tends to play more with the theme of we are trapped in this circle, we are trapped in this course of action that is going to happen no matter how we try to get out of it.